Okay, so, mute your mic, please. Okay, okay. So I think we are all d'accord here. We are all okay here up to this point. So I'm going to maximize my screen now so that let you see the flow of this. I was trying to point out that this is a block element. This, I pointed out that it's an inline block element, which is this italics, and this bolded is also an inline block element. Now we've also seen another inline block element, which is the image tag. This img tag is an inline block element. That's why it did not on its own go to, that's why it did not on its own.
Not on a big mouth. No, I plug on right. But your laptop not big mouth, a small mouth, not a big mouth.
Who is talking? I'm going to mute that person. Okay. So what I was trying to say is, you can see that this is also an inline block element. That's why it did not on its own move to the next line. And also this our link too is also an inline block element, not a block element. This is the only block element for now which we have seen. That's why every other thing coming after it moves to the next line. Let's inspect it. We're inspecting our page. Okay, let's inspect our page. So if you come to this paragraph, the first paragraph, you see it's a block element. It occupies the whole line. This italics, this is italics, occupies just that section which is written. This bolded also does same, occupies that section. The image, it doesn't occupy the whole line. That's why it's here. Then the last one is this link. This is the image, sorry. This is the image. It doesn't occupy the whole line. And this link now, it's occupying just one line, not the whole line. Let me increase it so that we can see it. This is it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put a paragraph. Let me copy this paragraph and put after this image so that you see the way the paragraph will separate this stuff. I've saved it. Let me maximize it again. Okay. Now see this paragraph. This paragraph is here. This is an inline block element. This one. This is also an inline block element. That's why it appears on the same line. This one now, this image is an inline block element. That's why it appears on the same line. But the paragraph is a block element, so it's going to move to the next line completely on its own. So if we inspect it, look at it. Let me go up. No, looking for it. Okay, this is it. See, it appears, it takes the whole line. That's why this our link, this our a tag will appear on a different line, but it's not consuming the whole line, to show that it is an inline block element. So at this point, I'm going to introduce a little bit of CSS or styling to this our page. So the way
Okay. Sorry to cut you.
I can hear you. I can hear you.
First of, someone who can answer.
Okay.
But I want to let us know that we have barely 9 seconds for this particular section. So,
Okay.
you want to start me, right?
Hello.
So then you start answering the question.
Hello. Hello, parents.
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you so much for your insight as regards this thing. You were doing a very good work here. There's something I want to add based on what you're saying. You made mention of a block element and inline block element.
Yes.
What about if we call the block elements as your header and the inline block element as a paragraph? As just take example for a document. The document contains the head and the paragraph. The paragraph is the body in which everything is being imbued into. Instead of calling the block, why not refer as the head and the inline as the
No,
paragraph?
why they call
That's what
it?
I want to say.
No, why they call it block is it must not be.
Sorry, please, please.
Okay, let me pause this
You
so
can
that.
you won't have enough you won't have enough time to answer this question
Yeah,
because
let me
this is
pause
going
it.
to end in
I'm going to pause
like
it.
30 seconds.
Okay, he can ask his question. Ask your question.
All right, all right. What I'm saying is that you made mention of a block element and inline
Okay.
elements.
You asked your question already.
Uh,
Okay, let
yeah,
me answer
you
you.
understand? You understand what I say?
Yes,
Okay.
but now this you are saying the block element should just be like a title. Why the inline block element should be
No,
like
no, 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 no. The block element should be as a head, the
okay, I
head of the
heard
paragraph.
heading.
Yeah.
Okay,
Then the inline should be the paragraph.
okay.
That's one.
Why
Yeah.
why I don't want you to see that way is I don't want you to see that way because they are not they are not contiguous. For example, this paragraph here is an a block element. It may be on its own. It may not be heading this one, this inline block element. It may just be on its own. So what I want you to see it as, the way I want you to see it is, just see it as this block element must occupy the whole line. Just see it that way for now. Maybe with time you understand why it should not be seen as a paragraph, because there are other elements which when introduced they occupy the whole line too, and these ones may not even be a text element like a paragraph or any other thing. But for now, just see it that way, that there are some elements which when introduced occupy the whole line, while there are other ones which when introduced they don't occupy the whole line for now. Okay, so I was trying to point out how this is inline block and how this is outline block element. So let's go and add some CSS to this. So what is CSS? CSS is just like we have this is the blocks we have laid here. We have laid blocks and now we need to paint. We need to style our house. You understand? So that is how CSS goes. Yeah.
Please, you are not sharing it. The screen is not up.
Okay. Sorry, let me share my screen. Sorry. Okay. I think it's shared now. Okay. So this is our blocks. We have laid our blocks for our foundation. We have carried everything up. But now we need to design our house. We need to paint it. We need to put tiles. We need to make it look attractive. So we are going to enter into CSS. So CSS is the styling for HTML, and CSS will go like this. Let me start like this. For example, I come here, the CSS is styling. This we write like this: style equal to, in quotes. That is how it goes. CSS style equal to quote. So we have the property, maybe background color. This is background color equal to, let me put red. So this is the property and this is the attribute. We are styling the background color of this our paragraph. This is paragraph, this first paragraph here. We are styling the background color to red. Okay, let me save it. So see what happens. I believe you understand this. To write CSS, you just say style equal to what you want to style and the style you are giving to it. Okay, it ends with a semicolon. Semicolon tells it that okay, I'm done with this property styling. Let me go to the next property styling. For example, I can give a space, or if you give an enter, it's still the same thing, because space or enter in HTML doesn't change anything. It combines it to one space. So let me give a space and let me do a next property. To change the color of this text to white, how do we change it? In CSS, it's called color, like this, colon white, and then my semicolon to end it, like full stop in English. Semicolon must be there. So let me save. So I hope you see how it's going. Let's come to this. Okay, let me add something. Okay, let's come to this one. This is italics. Let's style it too. Style. I'm supposed to say style equal to and in quotes, but once I type style, they're going to give me this option. Since we are using VS Code, if I take enter, it's going to complete it for me like this. So what I need to do is just to start writing inside here. So how do we style this one? How do we style this one? Okay, let me give it a color of blue. Color colon blue, and let me save it. So I did not put semicolon here, and it's saved because this is our CSS will actually understand that there's no other property and attribute coming after this, so it just considers it as the last. But had it been I'm supposed to add something here, like maybe background color, it will not understand because I've not told it that this sentence has ended here by putting a semicolon. Then I'm going to start in the next sentence. So that's how it works. So what can I give here? Let me give font size. CSS is actually straightforward, but you just need to know it. Font size equal to most often we measure in pixels. Screen size, your screen size is measured in pixels. So let's say font size is let's say 20 pixels. Px is called pixels, so it's 20 px. Control S. See, it's now bigger. Let's increase the font size to maybe 40 px, which is pixels. Control S. You see, it's bigger. Let's do font weight. Font minus weight. Font weight should be, let's put it bold. Control S. Font weight, it did not apply because I think I made an error here. So look at it, this E, so it doesn't understand what is bold with an E. So I remove it and take S. See, it's now bolded. So that is how CSS works. So this thing we are doing here now, font style inside the paragraph, inside the elements, is called inline styling. Like we have inline block elements because they're inside the line. So this is inline styling. It's inside the line. It's inside the paragraph. This one is also inside the em tag. So if you look at it very well, you write the styling inside the opening tag of the element inside the opening tag. So here, this title is written inside the opening tag. So it's called inline styling. But this is not a better way to do it. If you look at it now, it's so rowdy, it's confusing. So the better way to do it is to come up here. This is one better way to do it, is to come up here and write your style here, style tag. Once you start styling, it's going to give you the opening and closing tag. No, I'm going to remove it here, sorry. It's supposed to be inside the head because it doesn't display on the page. It just styles the page, but it doesn't display like a text on the page. So it's going to be here inside the head. Anything which doesn't display on the page is inside the head. So inside this head now, we are going to style this stuff. Well, all these things, we are going to remove them from here. I'm going to delete. Let me copy all of this. Copy, Control X. Remove it. I'll save. So you see that this formatting here will go, this styling here will go, because I've removed it. I'm going to put it in our header. I'm going to style it that same way in our header. So for example, now this inside this style tag, this is where we are going to be writing all our styles. Let's format this. Let's style this paragraph. This is a paragraph because of this is P, paragraph. Let's style all the paragraph in our page. We are styling all the paragraph, which is P. You put curly bracket, open and close. So your style is being, you will write your style in this space. Now this is where you write your style. So let's say color red. No, color was white. Color was white, semicolon, and let me save. Now you see it has disappeared, but it's there. It's there. That is it. The color is now white. That's why it's now blending with the background. So let's make a background color. Once I press enter, it completes it for me. Background color to red, just like we had it before. And you see it's back. So if you look at this now, it doesn't make this paragraph text rowdy. So I'm going to remove this styling again on this em text, so that our HTML will be good to read, will be readable. I've removed this, so if I save it, this formatting is going to leave. Now what I did here was P. I'm telling my style that okay, every paragraph you see on my HTML document, give it a color of white and a background color of red. Color of white, background color of red. And it's also affecting this one because this is also a paragraph. This is also a paragraph. Okay, so this is how I like to write it, and this is how I think you should write it. You make sure you give a space here, and also make sure you bring this down. Write them one per line so that it looks good. To make your code readable is very, very important. I think you should write it like this. So we are styling the P tag. P tag is the paragraph tag. We are giving it a color of white and a background color of red. Let's make it bold. Let's make it bold. Font weight. See, it's completing it for me. So once I click here or I press enter, it's going to complete it. Font weight should be bold. Control S. Look at it. So I'm telling it, okay, let me add the font size so that we see it very well. Font size of maybe 50 pixels. Screen size is measured in pixels. You can actually use, I think you can use centimeters. Control S. Let me check what's happening here. I've used centimeters actually, but let me check something. Control, I'm trying to make my screen smaller. That's my screen is now very small, but it's still this big because 5 centimeters is something, or 50 centimeters is something. Let me reduce it a little so that we can understand. Let me make it 5 centimeters. So just for you to see that CSS is actually more like a human readable something. Font size 5 centimeters, that's why it's like this, but it's too big like this. So I encourage you to always calculate it in pixels. Very soon you get used to how much pixel will be what and what. So So I'm saving it again. So font size 50 pixels. It's small because I've zoomed in my screen. Let me reset it. Okay, so that is a 50 pixels. I'm going to make my page smaller so that we can see it side by side. Okay, this P. Okay, let me also target the A elements. Let me style this image, sorry. So to style any element, you can use the tag, this tag. Now for example, we're using P to style all P elements. Now let's use this img to style the img elements, any img element on our page, which is the image element. So we can just write img space opening bracket close, then we take enter to send it down. So what do? Let's set the width to 300 pixels. Control S. See what happens, it shrinks. Now see, the CSS has a feature such that if you change the width of an image, the height also changes to suit the same aspect ratio of that image. For example, this image was bigger than this, the length was bigger than this, and the height was bigger than this, and the width was also bigger than this. But since we change only the width, the height also shrinks, so that the image still maintains the same height and the same width comparatively to the first one, so that the ratio should almost be the same, should still be the same. So you can, if we, for example, if we change the height. Yeah.
Sorry for interjecting. Someone raised the hand. I think Master raised the hand. I didn't hear the question.
Okay. The person can ask the question. I don't used to see the hand because I'm not on that screen.
Hello, Terrence.
Yes,
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right. You made mention of an inline CSS in which you have to style in line with
The tag or the element.
the tag or the element setup. Now, the one you're doing right now, can you call that an external CSS
No, it's not
or
external.
internal CSS?
It's internal CSS.
Internal CSS.
Because it's still on the page. Very soon we'll get to external CSS. With external CSS, we are going to put our CSS on a separate page and call it maybe start.css or style.css. Then we'll come to our head now and link it. We'll just have a link to it, like how we had a link to this image. But we'll get there.
Okay. I'm over. Why do you start in between the head element instead of the body element?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's only that I will not give somebody water.
Did you get
Yeah,
what I said?
I got your question. Somebody should mute the mic.
Before.
Francis,
Okay, but
you help me. You help me to mute. You help me to be muting all these people. All these people talking. You help me. You help me to mute them, please. Okay. So. You guys know we are recording, so the noise is not necessary. Okay, you were asking me why. What was that question again?
Yeah, I asked why do you start in between the head element instead of the body?
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, everything not visible to the page goes in the head. Now, HTML structure has given us that style will go in the head. All these meta tags will go in the head. All the links will go in the head, linking to other CSS or JavaScript will go in the head. So that is HTML's format. Everything in the body should be displayed on the page. Now, if we put that style, for example, in the page, we put this style in the page. are we telling it to display this style as it is? This style now is not supposed to be displayed as it is, like this. It's not supposed to be displayed like this. It's just supposed to understand that we are designing it like this, but not for it to show us the text. So it's not going to work. So HTML has given us its own format and we have to follow it that way.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay. So I was trying to put a height here. Height of this image.
Is the screen showing?
Are you seeing my screen?
No, I can't see your screen. I don't know whether it's just me.
I can see the screen.
Okay.
Can anyone else see the screen?
The person who cannot see my screen should maybe leave and
I can
come
see
back
your
in
screen,
again.
bro.
Okay. Maybe the person who cannot see my screen should leave and come back again. So we're
So
trying to format this image. Now we're trying to style this image. We're going to give it a height of maybe 500 pixels. So see what happens if I save. See what happens. It's now stressed to 500 pixel height and 300 pixel width. That's why I was trying to say, with images, once you affect the height or the width, one of them is going to shrink automatically to maintain the same aspect ratio. So I've removed the height. It's now 300 pixels width, and the height is calculated from the original, just so that the image still keeps the same aspect ratio. So what I'm going to do to this image now is let's give it a border. In HTML or CSS, there's what they call border and there's what they call margin. There's what they call padding. So I'll use this image to explain to us. I'm going to give it I'll explain to us. Let me write it first. Margin of 20 pixels. I'll explain it to us, please. Border width of 5 pixels. Border color of let me call it red, and padding. I'll explain this to us. It's very actually easy to understand, but 20 pixels. I want to write it first. Control S. Okay. What's this? Border 5 pixels solid red. Okay, let's inspect this now. By inspecting this, we'll understand how it works. Inspect. Okay. Compared. Okay. 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 So see, look at what I've done. This is our image. Margin is the space outside of your image. Let's say this is a border. You know, we all know what is border. Border is something that borders anything. Border is just something that borders anything. So I put a border of, on this image, I put a border of 5 pixels. 5 pixels is the thickness of this border. If I change it to maybe 2 pixels. I've made an error. Maybe 2 pixels. It's going to be a little bit slim. If I put it 10 pixels, it's going to be thicker. Just how the thickness of the what borders it is, just like a border. Then solid red. Solid means it should be solid. Then red is the color. Now padding 20 pixel is, if you look at this image here, you see padding is, this is the image. If you go up, you see padding 20 pixels. See what is getting highlighted. You know where the padding is. So the padding is the space between the image and the border. This space now getting highlighted is the padding. So if you increase it to maybe 50 pixels, no, if you increase the padding to 50 pixels, this was supposed to be something for, okay, see the space now, 50 pixels, it has increased. So this is the border is 4 pixels. This line here, red pixel, this is it, 4 pixels, this is it. And the margin is anything outside of the border, which is 20 pixels. This is it. It's getting highlighted. Can you guys see it? So that is the difference between margin, border, and padding. Padding occurs in between that element and the border, while margin occurs from the border outward. For example, if you look at this now, I've given it a margin of 20 pixels. That's why it's from this wall now to the border is 20 pixels. So then from the border to the image itself is 50 pixels, as you can see here. From the border to the image is 50 pixels. Okay, let me increase the padding a little, the margin to maybe 100 pixels. 100 pixels, Ctrl S. We'll see what happens. This distance from here to here now is 100 pixels. You can see it from here. From top to is 100 pixels. So I'm going to remove all of this, and we are going to do it again in a way that all of us will understand. I'm going to save it. So the image is there. I'm going to give the image a padding. Normally padding can be divided into 4: padding top, padding left, padding right, and padding bottom. So let's give it a padding left, so that it can shift from this wall, from this wall of our computer. We can shift right. Let's give it a margin left of let's just call it 20 pixels. Ctrl S. So you see it has shifted 20 pixels from the left. So you see it's too close to this our text here. We can give it a margin top. Let's give it a margin top of, maybe you can call it 30 pixels. Ctrl S to save. It has shifted. So if we still give it margin bottom, of maybe 30 pixels, it has shifted this one to another 30 pixels. That's why you can see it from this image here. This is the margin 30, 20, and 30. You can still give it a margin right. So margin goes all around. Margin right of maybe 20 pixels. Control S. That's giving it. Okay. Now I'm going to add a border. Border width. Border width. That's the width of the border should be maybe 5 pixels. And the border color. You should give it a border you should give it a color, border color to be maybe let me call it red, and on border let me see, there's one other property we should give it. Let me see, border style solid.
Hello guys. Terence.
Yes.
Please, I want to beg your indulgence.
Okay.
You see, this is more like you are our own now, right?
Okay.
So if we're going to be having this and we are to achieve, a maximum or with you, I think even if it is 4 steps, 3 steps, 5 steps in a day, eh, that you emphasize on over and over again for all, as in for all of us to comprehend, I think it will go a great, way than taking us a lengthy lesson
Okay.
without us grabbing anything.
Yes, I understand you very well. But I think yesterday we covered a lot of the HTML already. Yesterday. Today I just went over it and I'm introducing CSS. And also this is the last thing I'm introducing for CSS for today. This thing I've done now, I just want to go over it again so that we can understand it better. But that is the only thing I'm doing for today.
Yeah, so for me, this as in, though I didn't start the lesson with you guys today, but I don't know how many people can actually say that okay, they are really following and they are with you now. Maybe you should ask questions. So
Yeah, I've been asking questions and they have been asking me questions too. But for now, is there any other question? Is there any question before I round up with this thing I'm doing?
Mr. Francis wanted to say something, or you raised your hand.
No, I want it to be done before I want to say something regarding what Moppy actually said. Well, that would be when you are done.
Okay. So
So,
are you
what to
saying I should
do is
round up with this?
now. No. Take your time. I mean,
Yes.
when you are done with what you are
Yes.
trying to
I
say.
just want to explain this margin,
Okay.
padding, and border, and we'll go now to
Yeah,
questions, and that will be all for the day.
yeah. Then the most important thing why I'm okay with the tempo today is because you are recording. So once it's posted in the group, you all have enough time to practice what you've taught. At least you've taught quite a lot of things this night. So for the next class, when you are done, maybe we'll try a better way to carry everybody along from the next class. You understand?
Okay. No issues. So
Thank you.
okay, we did this one. Let's forget about this image width. This image width is just for us to size this image to make it smaller. We can make it 100. 100 is going to be a little more smaller. That's the width will be 100 pixels, but 100 is too small, so let's make it bigger. Let's leave it at 400 even. Okay, now we understand, I believe we understand this margin. Margin left, margin top, margin bottom, margin right. It goes 4 ways. Margin left is 20 pixels. That's from our wall to this place should be 20 pixels. Margin top, that's from the last element to it to the element we are styling should be 30 pixels. That's margin top. This margin here. The margin
Okay.
right is also the same thing. You are giving it, and if anything is coming to the right, it should be 20 pixels. Is it 20 pixels from it? that you're just giving it some space outside of the image. Margin bottom is still the same thing, you're just giving it some space. So we're done with margin, and we're introducing border now. I've put a border of 5 pixels. 5 pixels is just the thickness of this border. I can make it to 10 pixels so that we see that it really works. Show the thickness. Then border color is red, and the border style is solid. That is, the red should be solid red. It should be solid. So this is it. That's why it's coming up here. That is the border. So
Maybe.
somebody should read that person. Okay, thank you. So this is the border. Now we are going to talk about padding. Padding is, if you follow my mouse, padding is the space between the image and the border. While margin is the space between the border and the outside. So we are going to add a padding left to this image. Let's come here. Padding left. It's as simple as that. Let's give it 10 pixels. 10 pixels. Control S. So you see, it has padded it left to pad something. You understand, when you pad something, it's like you've put some piece of cloth inside this box so that it can pad it. So this is padding left, 10 pixels. So padding also goes the 4 ways like margin. You can add padding top, padding left, padding top. Padding top is there. Padding top for maybe, let's give it the same 10 pixels and save. So you understand how it's going. So the next thing we can do is padding right and padding bottom. Padding right, you can always press enter to complete it. Padding right should be 10 pixels, and padding bottom should be 10 pixels again, and let's save. So I've added the 4 paddings here, 10, 10, 10, 10. So if we, for example, change padding bottom to 50 pixels, 50, see what happens to the padding bottom. Padding bottom is now bigger because we've given it 50 pixels, but the margin bottom is still there. It's outside of the border. So margin occurs out of the border, while padding occurs inside the border. So even if we don't have the border, for example, let me remove this, Control X, and save. The padding and the margin are still here, but the border is not visible now. The border is supposed to be in the middle of this place, but it's not visible because we've removed it. We did not give it a border, but the padding is still there and the border is still there, but the margin is not visible because we did not give it a border to be visible. So let me put it again so that it becomes clear. So this is how padding and margin works. It works for every element. You can do padding and margin for this. You can do it for every other element. This is okay. So the last thing I want to say is how to comment in HTML. This our link now, for example, this is our link. Let me comment it out. We don't need it for now. Maybe, okay, we don't need it for now. How we comment is we use the less than sign and the not. I explained before that in programming you should call this as not, because with time you learn to know that it negates so many things. Not, minus, minus, and it has completed it for us. So this is the opening tag. This is the opening tag, and this other part is the closing tag. So what you are commenting goes in between this place. So for example, if we say that is the opening tag, see it has made everything green, and let's close it here. Minus, minus this. You see it has made it green to show that it's not active. So once I save it, this link will not be visible on our page again. But it's just there, maybe for reference purposes. If you come back to your code and you see it, you say, oh, you can actually uncomment it, remove the comment to check, and save it to check. So let's say I don't know, I want to leave this code for some time, or I'm still coding. I can just come here and say, and comment here, minus minus, and comment this links to YouTube, in case maybe after like 6 months or 2 months you are going to come back to this code, but you may not know what this link does. So I've commented it. This link links to YouTube. The link is still working because I did not comment this part of it, but I'm just writing a comment to tell myself or anybody coming to read my code what this part does. So this comment is just necessary for you to, anytime you come back to your code, you know what it's doing. So this comment is not going to appear on your page because you have told HTML that ignore this for me. Hello? Okay. So this is the link, this is the comment for HTML, but the comment for CSS is different. Let's assume I want to comment this border. I don't need this border. How we comment for CSS is we put a /, a star, then at the end where you think it should stop, you put a star, and another /. So if you look at it, it doesn't matter the position, but it should just embody it. Even if you put a space here, everything inside it is commented. So this is how we comment in CSS. This for closing and this for opening. So if I save it, this border is going to disappear from here because I'm telling my code now that, okay, don't ignore this, ignore it for me. So I'm saving it. So that border has disappeared from here. I'm just telling it to ignore it. So also in CSS, we can use that same mode of commenting to tell ourselves that this code is doing this thing at a particular time, or what the code is doing. You can say /* this is the border design, and the use star this to close it. That means this line now is a comment and it will not
Sorry,
appear.
Terence.
Yes.
So sorry for interjecting. Someone joined the meeting. The person by name meeting guest. Can you tell us who your name is? I can't identify you by that name. The person I just accepted. Can you unmute yourself and tell us who you are, please? Can you hear me? I just accepted someone. The name I'm seeing here, the display name I'm seeing here is meeting guest. So can you unmute yourself? I need to be sure. What is the name of this product? I don't want to meet and then it turns out the person is involved. On this account always. Can you hear me?
Me?
No, let me tell you. I mean, the person that just joined.
Okay, should I log out and log in again?
No. I just want to know your name. Just let me know your name in the platform. So I will be sure. I'll be confident in your name.
Okay,
So then, yeah. Yeah.
okay, it's Uzi Concept. Uzi my WhatsApp group.
Okay,
My
OC
Okay.
concept.
Okay.
Okay,
My
okay.
boss. I just needed to be sure. All right. So thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. You can go ahead.
Okay, so what I was saying is about the comments. This is the comment for CSS. If you are commenting inside CSS, this is how it should be. And if you are commenting inside HTML, this is how it should be. If you use this comment, for example, use this inside HTML, if you let me copy it and paste it here, it's not going to work. See, it's not showing us like a comment, it's not green. So this kind of comment is meant only for CSS, and this is meant for HTML. Okay, so I think we are going to leave it here for now so that it doesn't overweigh us, and next class we'll continue with more styling and look at external CSS. But for now, if you have
Okay.
any
All right.
question,
Thank you very.
I appreciate.
Thank, thank you very much. Please, the floor is open for questions. If you have any question, kindly raise your hand so I can. All right, Studio okay, Kingsley, please, you can go ahead with your question.
Okay, uh, Terence, I thank you so much for your efforts. You are doing a great job, and I appreciate that. And I hope that we all is appreciative of what you are doing. But like I said, I keep saying myself, I am a total novice to this whole thing. So, and that is why I'm here to learn. So I want to. I told the line of there is this I think is it Murphy, somebody that spoke earlier and said suggested if the teaching will be coming bit by bit, so that we all will be able to follow, to catch up with the rhythm of the teaching. So like I am still struggling with the teaching of yesterday, the HTML, and here we are at CSS already. So this whole thing is, as in the thing is still like I know that with time we'll get to myself. I will get to catch up because I am. I know that I do I say I'm a fast learner, but what I'm trying to say is that I am always determined. Whatever I'm set out to do, I'm determined, and I do get it done. So I want to still. I throw that line of thoughts that you should be taking it bit by bit, making sure that whichever one you are teaching us, that everybody in the cohort understands it before we move to the next section. Like I said, the lesson of yesterday, I am still struggling to understand it because I have not, this thing needs constant practicing and practicing before you can be able to really understand it.
Okay,
So please,
I understand you.
that is it why I am even calling for, I'm clamoring for this recording of it, so that after each section, we will go back, we'll sit back and be able to get over it, over and over and over, so
Okay,
as to be able to grasp
okay,
what that
I
which is
understand.
being.
Okay, I understand. Okay, now I wanted to ask you, yesterday's class,
Yeah.
did you go through yesterday? I think, did you try to do what we did yesterday for yesterday's class before this class now? What we did for yesterday's class,
Yeah,
did you try to do
actually,
it on your own?
that of yesterday's class, right?
Yes.
Yeah, there was no video. Though what really happened was that I said that I plan to be come back early and try to do one or two things before we start again for today, but I couldn't make it.
Okay.
You know, there was no chance for me to do that today because even as you, if you notice, I joined today's class late.
Yes. Okay,
I
no,
went
no
late.
issues. No issues. I understand perfectly what you are trying to say or what you're saying. But today's class, the way I started for today's class, I went over what we did yesterday.
Okay, you did a recap.
Yes, I did a recap, and
I was
the only new thing I'm doing today is from this CSS.
okay. I hadn't joined them.
Yeah, I did a recap.
I made people for halfway, kind of.
So the only new thing I've done today is just this CSS. So tomorrow, what I'm planning to do is I'm going to still do a recap on the CSS, or if probably on everything again. It's not going to take long because I've already done it today. So the recap will not be
Mm.
much. I'll just, especially this CSS, I'll just do it again, then go into the next stage. Like today, the only new thing I've
Okay.
done is just this CSS.
Okay.
Okay, okay. Thank you. We have barely 2 minutes to go, and Uzi Concepts raised his hand. So please, Uzi Concepts, go ahead and make it. But keep it under a minute, please, so we can move the concept. Uzi Concepts, can you unmute yourself and speak, please? Okay, I don't know. I don't know if maybe you want to call. Um, we have
Hello?
barely two. We have barely 2 minutes to go.
I think he's.
Hello? Can you all
Okay,
hear me?
okay, yes, we can hear you. Please keep it under a minute so we don't get cut off.
Okay, I just wanted. Oh, really? I wanted to ask Major how to. Okay, I want to ask how, like, what Skyline taught us. How do I, if I want to practice, how do I start a new like when I open my VS Code, all what I did is still showing there. How do I start a fresh one again so I can practice what kind of taught
Okay,
us
because
on the VS
we don't
Code? Is
have
there a
enough
place
time.
to save?
We don't have enough time. Let me just show you
Just
now. Let me
can
just show you now. But
wrap my head around it.
the issue is you were not here yesterday and you still came late today. All these things have been trashed. That's why we encourage people attending this. It's very necessary. If you want to become a software developer, you must have meetings. So what I'm going to do now before our meeting gets cut is, let's say you are already here. Just come here, or you go to your desktop, create another folder. Let me create another folder, Control N, and let me call it second. This is the folder. Anywhere you create your folder, come back to your VS Code, go to File, go to Open Folder, and yours should pop up in front, and you select that folder and open. It's going to open on your VS Code automatically. So this is it, the second, and it has nothing in it. So what you need to do is just to start by creating a file here. I'm fast because of our time. It has cut off already. Okay. So what I was saying is, once you create this folder, your folder on the desktop, I'm creating another
Sorry,
folder.
sorry,
You're
you're
not
not
sharing your screen.
sharing. You're not sharing your screen.
Okay. It should be shared now, right? It's shared now, right?
Yes, yes.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yes.
So let's
The person that even asked the question is not even
He's the
With
one.
us right now.
He's the one.
No,
I'm
he's here.
here,
It's
please.
Uzi concept.
I'm here.
That's why I want to attend to it. Who is talking? Who is making that noise? Okay.
Please mute yourselves.
Let me just open something I've been doing so that I'm going to switch from it. Let me open what we have been doing today. Okay, this is what we have been doing today so far. Okay, I want to go back to a new project. What I'll do is I'll create a folder of that my new project. Let me call it second. Let me assume I've created this second folder now, or I can create another one. Let me call it another project. I've created a folder anywhere I create my folder. So the next thing I'll do is I'll go back to my VS Code. This is my old project. I'll just come to file, come to open folder. See, open folder is ready, but this operating system I'm using is Windows. It goes to the back. Look at it, it goes to the back. So I'll select that folder of my new project, which is another project, and open. I click open, see the way it's opening here. So it has opened. This is my new project. This is the folder. So if I want to start creating my files here, I can click on this plus here, this new file, and write the name, maybe first project.html, and press enter. I've created the first file, so I can start coding from here. I taught them a shortcut yesterday to come up with all of this. Once you just take shift and this and enter, it brings out all of this, so you can just start coding from here. So I think your question should be answered by now.
Yes, thank you so much. Question answered.
Okay. So if you want to close this project, for example, if you want to close this, just come here and click on this X here. You can close it, and you still see open folder somewhere here, or you can just come to file and open folder, and the same procedure. You select another new project and open. That's all.
But I close the project. Can I access it later again?
Yes, it still is, everything is in that folder. You just have to go back to your file, open, and you select that folder where it is and open it. It will open in VS Code with all its content in it. See, I've opened this one again.
Oh, okay.
So you click here and you see the Explorer.
Okay.
So
Okay, that's nice.
so that's it. I can stop sharing now so that it doesn't get heavy. Right?
Thank you so much.